Hi, I'm Kesenya and welcome to Guiding Star Astrology. I'm your Astro Weather Girl, here with this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm going to show you how the stars are going to affect your life this week. In my videos, I use both Vedic and traditional Western techniques with tropical astrology, not sidereal astrology. I also use the traditional system of whole sign astrology for my analysis. You can use this video to the best of your advantage by listening to the introduction to understand what the week holds for you, and then going to the timestamps for your sun, moon, and rising sign to get a more personalized forecast for the week ahead. Astrology is not designed to scare you. It's designed to give you information so that you know what the good and the challenging energies in the week ahead will be, and you can therefore consciously work with them to the best of your advantage. Remember, knowledge is power. Now, there are scammers about, and so if you should receive a message from me on any platform requesting your money for a reading, know that it is a scam. Report them immediately. And now settle in and let's see what the astral skies have in store for the week ahead. Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Astro Weather Report. I'm your Astro Weather Girl. We're going to explore the energies that are playing out in the skies from August the 5th until August the 12th, 2023. So thanks for joining me. Let's dive right in. What a fascinating week we've got. First of all, on the 7th of August, we have the Sun making a square to Jupiter. So Jupiter is here in Taurus and the Sun here in the fixed sign of Leo at 14 degrees. This is the square that they're making. So even though a square is usually a heavy aspect, it can still bring good things into our world because Jupiter is the great benefic. So the good things that come into our world under this particular transit come with almost a dose of too much of a good thing kind of vibe. So that's the one thing to be aware of with this kind of aspect. So lucky opportunities might be knocking at your door on the 7th of August. Vivacity might be in abundance in your life personally and in the people around you. And good-natured smiles greet your every interaction. It is actually quite a benevolent combo, even if it is a square. But just the same, we can feel somehow discontent with the status quo. Like the way life is not very satisfying because we want more. Jupiter is abundance and sort of expansion, and the Sun represents our, it's not a desire planet, but it's our ego drive, shall we say. So we might be like not satisfied with where we're at in life. We're greedy for more than our fair share. We can even take that greed, if you like, to the next level and wind up regretting our overindulgences. And that could be in anything from the food that we eat to the pastimes that we spend time doing, and we just spend too much time and neglect all the essentials and necessities of life and get sort of lost in our own world, so to speak, regretting our overindulgences. So try to remember under Sun square Jupiter energy just to pare things back a little bit or subdue your hunger for more, just maybe a tad. Practicing, as the Bible says, contentment in all circumstances is really the secret to navigating through this energy well and coming out the other side without regrets. Then on August the 9th, we have Venus making a square to Uranus. So quite a few squares forming this week. Here is Uranus in Taurus and Venus, who's very close to the Sun now. Venus is squaring Uranus at 22 degrees. Between these two fixed signs. So you may feel like you're on something of an emotional roller coaster around the 9th of August. You'll have this tense square to thank. So don't try to control how you feel, because then you just get frustrated and disappointed and irritated. Rather, focus on honoring yourself and ensure that you don't allow your emotional state to cause pain to others. So if you're feeling a bit wild emotionally, just say, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. Maybe I'll go and have a soak in the bath or go for a walk in the sunshine. I'll just do something to perhaps handle my emotions, but don't let this square cause you to lash out on other people and cause them difficulty and pain. And be aware that if people are, lashing out with you, it's probably coming from this square. Don't take things too personally around the 9th of August. Sometimes events can be shocking under this influence. Uranus is the planet of, shock and surprise. So with Venus here, this can include sort of shocking, unexpected financial losses. So I'd advise you keep your wallet closed for the day, even for the week, so nothing ends up sort of giving you that, like, oh my God, I've got nothing left in my bank account feeling, which we all hate. A must to avoid on this day would also be Venusian things like beauty treatments and therapies. They're not going to give you the results that you desire. You'll be shocked with the results. I remember once upon a time when I was in my teens, my mother went to the local hairdresser to get her hair done for a party that evening and some colour and whatever. And she came home and her hair was white, not blonde, not, highlights or anything. It was white. And my mum was probably only in her early 40s at this stage. And she was devastated. So she rang another hairdresser in town and arranged to go and get things fixed up a bit so she could go to this party without feeling humiliated by her shock of white hair. This is the kind of thing that can happen. You book in, you go to the hairdresser, and you come out with something you didn't expect. Also, feeding into this kind of energy is actually the fact that Venus is retrograde at the moment and invisible. Something that happened last week, Venus went invisible. So because of this, we're really lacking that Venusian energy on the planet, and being able to sort of channel that into sort of a beautiful hair treatment or beauty treatment and that sort of thing. It's so interesting, this retrograde phase of Venus, which I discussed in great detail in my recent video all about Venus and her retrograde motion and her invisibility and cazimi and combustion. So do check out that video if you haven't already to find out more about what Venus is going to do during this period. But suffice to say, Venus in a square to Uranus is just going to exacerbate these difficulties with getting a decent beauty treatment. I don't know, I for one have been thinking more lately while Venus is retrograde about I've got to do something about my hair, or I've got to do something about my fingernails, and thinking more about beauty treatment. So Venus is closer to the earth now, her influence is stronger. We will be inclined to want to go and get something done about our, flaky fingernails or our graying hair or whatever. The desire will increase, but the results, especially on this day, 9th of August, can be less than what we anticipate and desire. But in the positive with this square, because Venus is a benefic and Uranus is an outer planet, we just kind of don't give sort of benefic and malefic attributes to the outer planets, but they can go either way. They can be very positive and beneficial, or they can really muck us around. But in the positive with this aspect, the sudden emotional changes that you encounter around the 9th of August may very well serve to set you free from blockage. Liberation might be at your doorstep under this influence. So it's time to let the roller coaster be your teacher, my friends. What is the 9th of August and what unfolds on that day trying to teach you, trying to reveal to you? It's also worth knowing, and we're not going to explore this energy particularly with this video, we're going to look at a different energy this week, but it's also worth knowing what Venus rules in your chart, because it's those things that Venus rules in your natal chart that might be getting the shock treatment. So if not Venusian things, it could be a Libran thing, whatever house Libra is in your whole sign astrology, or a Taurus thing, whatever house Taurus is in your whole sign astrology. And do not forget that Libra is the dispositor of the planet Uranus that making a square with at the moment too. Now on the 10th of August, Mercury is going to benefically trine Jupiter. So here is Mercury up here in Virgo, nearing Mars, and Virgo 14 degrees to Taurus, 14 degrees, makes a trine. Hallelujah. We now encounter one of the truly uplifting energies that this month holds for us. We feel optimistic, we feel balanced. This is the order of the day. So yay for this one. It's a beautiful energy for engaging in group activities, communicating well with others, especially if you're involved in some sort of teaching or facilitating role. And if travel is on the cards, it's going to be enjoyable and hassle-free if you undertake it around the 10th of August. So if you've got any legal matters to attend to, contracts or proposals to sign, this is a supportive energy. Today, the 10th of August that I'm talking about here, can be your friend. This energy can support a positive, big picture outcome for you. So, it's really good for long-term sort of overall success. And it also ensures that you're going to pay attention to the small details as well. So this is the energy we're going to be talking about in the All Signs breakdown, which we're going to dive into right away. No holding back today. We're going to get right into things. Okay, so Virgo Rising, Virgo Sun, Virgo Moon. Here we are. So the energy of Mercury trine to Jupiter is being felt in your first house because the personal planet and the faster moving planet is here in the house of you, Virgo. So you're thinking, because whenever Jupiter is in aspect in a positive way with something, it amplifies, it expands, it grows, whatever that planet represents. So here in the first house means your thinking and your talking speeds up, expands under Jupiter's influence. So you're going to think fast, you're going to talk fast. In fact, your mind can be a little bit faster than your mouth here. So try to slow down, try to think things through. You might need to make some fast decisions around the 10th of August for some reason or another. Could be for any reason, but you might need to think on your feet, think quickly, and even take some quick actions over certain circumstances in your life while this aspect is forming. Just try to remember, check in on the finer details. If you've got to make a decision or sign a form or whatever, make sure you check the fine details as well. But you're going to want to keep things short, and you're going to want to keep things simple under this energy, short and to the point. There's a busyness and a bustle about your life on the 10th of August that's going to keep you on your toes. That can be quite exciting. It might feel quite thrilling to be sort of very, very active under this energy, because Mercury is a busy energy and a fast energy, so Jupiter expands that even more here in the first house of you. So you might receive also some exciting, fresh news. Mercury rules getting the news, getting information, receiving some sort of correspondence, and it can be uplifting and it can be beneficial kinds of information that comes from Jupiter. Jupiter's expanding what Mercury is all about. And of course, Mercury is in good dignity at the moment while he's in your sign, Virgo, which is the sign, one of the signs that he rules. So you'll want to you might receive some good news, but some fresh insights can also come to you, some aha moments, and you'll want to keep the details of any new plans or ideas that come to you. You want to keep the details of those things simple and quite big picture, get my words out, big picture focused to begin with at least. Start with the overall, what do I want to achieve here in the long term, in the big picture, and then hone in on the details. Also, Mercury in the first house, trine to Jupiter, try not to get defensive about your opinions under this energy. Take the high ground and use your words under this influence to discuss with intellectual argument tinged with grace now, rather than to sort of be reactive and defensive about what you think and what you feel. You might even, under this influence, be able to rally people to a cause through your own infectious excitement now. Although, just a heads up, there might be some impatience with other people who are taking too long to reach their point in discussion. So sometimes I have this issue with a beautiful member of my family who takes a long time to process and think before she can speak. And so there's a need for patience with this combination as well when we're listening. We're good at speaking, our mind is fast, but maybe other people haven't got this particular configuration going on. with Mercury in the first house, and they're going to take longer to process their thoughts and put them into words to communicate. So practice patience with other people who need time to think and process as they speak. Thank you very much, Virgo. Moving on to Libra Rising, Sun or Moon people. The energy, and we're going to go for a walk because that's the nature of Mercury, isn't it? Especially when it's trying to Jupiter. It likes to move, it's restless, it's not going to sit still. So let's take a look at, get that right, at Libra and Mercury being in the 12th house with a trine to Jupiter this week. It's a position for being dreamy and imaginative in the 12th house. I have to say though, Mercury's not that flash in the 12th house. It doesn't give its best efforts, its highest strength when it's in the 12th house. So there might be some trouble with details. Mercury transiting the 12th house with a trine to Jupiter can expand your dreaminess and your imagination, but under this, with Mercury in the 12th house, the focus on, dotting the I's and crossing the T's comes a little bit more difficult, with a bit more difficulty. But you may receive, Librans, some information, some messages from spirit, messages from other worldly realms or other dimensions. So your dreams might have a message for you. The messenger of the gods is amplified in the 12th house of dreams. So pay attention to your dreams. Have a notebook by the bed. Write them down. What is that message speaking to you when you wake up? Or if you are an imaginative type of person, Libra, by nature, sit and daydream. Sit out in the sunshine with a cup of tea and imagine and see where your thoughts take you. There's probably a message in where your thoughts wander on this day, the 10th of August. You can even be under this influence at this time, a channeler of otherworldly information. Even if you're not usually somebody who's channeling information, you may not even recognize yourself doing this. It might just be that you're getting sort of insights and wisdom that's a bit beyond you, and you might be like, oh, where did that come from? This is what's happening. It's a channeling from the divine realms that is amplified under this energy. So there can be a little bit of difficulty with everyday activities and routines. You might be thinking in a very abstract and unusual way while this influence is at play. And that can be very helpful if you're writing a fantasy novel or dreaming up some fabulous costume for an exotic play or something like that. This is a fabulous energy for that. But if you've got to, think about how, work out your taxes and try and analyze, which money from which account's going to pay which bill, that's hard work under this energy with Mercury in the 12th house. So lots of creativity and inspiration, but frustration with the mundane and the ordinary under this influence. So lack of thoroughness is a hallmark here. Thoroughness with the details of life, but knowledge will arrive to you intuitively. So trust your gut on the 10th of August. Trust your instincts. You can be very visionary, Libra. You can get a lot of inspiration in your mental realm that can come through now, inspired thoughts, uplifting thoughts. It's actually a great transit for anybody who works in marketing or advertising, working with music or writing or creative careers, because inspiration lands on your doorstep now. You don't have to hunt far or, sort of go into that sort of state of trying to produce a creative idea. It just comes. And you can have some really winning concepts now under this influence too. It's a good time. Mercury is talk. So it's a good time to get chatty about 12th house things. Spirituality. Call a friend who's a spiritual, kindred spirit and, get it on. Natter about all the spiritual inspiration you've been receiving or the insights you've had recently. Enjoy that component of this energy. You might even get, through talking to other people, some big psychic downloads or insights or aha revelations. And don't forget, just a reminder, my Libran friends, that your dreams might be there might be messages from the divine. We talked about dreams a little moment ago, but they can also be prophetic. So if you're somebody who is inclined to have dreams that are telling you about the future, this is going to be very strong right now for you. So do pay attention. I'll just finish up by saying that. Thank you, Libra. Okay, Scorpio Rising, Scorpio Sun, Scorpio Moon people. Well, this energy is working its way from the 10th house, from the 11th house to the other way around. You're going to feel this influence from the 7th house Jupiter to the 11th house Mercury. Sorry about that, very confusing there. So it's through the 11th house that you're going to feel an amplification of Mercury energy. Now, the 11th house is a strong position for Mercury. So this is a bonus right from the get-go. Mercury does well in the 11th house, generally speaking. And here with an amplification from Jupiter to its placement in its own sign, it's very, very positive for you Scorpio people this week. You're going to be thinking about life and your circumstances and your connections and networks in a very rational and analytical way, and even approaching your goals and aspirations in a very rational and analytical way now. So this intellectual approach can be very impartial and very scientific. You can be a little bit more detached from your emotions under this energy, but in your head, you're coming up with logical strategies and the ability to put actions in place that are going to get you towards your dreams and goals just a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. That this energy is going to also allow you to make new friends. New friends, new acquaintances, and broaden, because Jupiter is to expand, broaden your social networks and social circle. And of course, that can have long-ranging impacts for the future when you have connections. We all know that connections to other people help us a lot in life. No one is an island. We need one another to progress. So that this is a great transit for increasing that. Your words can also have a great deal of persuasion and impact under this influence. So you have a great capacity to do some public speaking under this influence, out talking to the masses or on the internet in some way. Use your words, use your voice, if you are a Scorpio rising sun or moon person, to impact people for good and uplift them for good. You might even be able to rally people to a cause with the sweetness of your words here as well. It's also a time when you might gain a unique perspective on a topic that is affecting the masses. So I'd encourage you, keep an open mind and an open heart around the 10th of August. And if you find something of interest, explore it deeply and find the truth, because there could be a change in belief or a change in mindset that is a result of this combination. You might also notice that those goosebump moments that we can get increase. And goosebump moments are always telling us something. Not when we're goosebumpy from the cold, but it's 45 degrees Celsius outside and or inside, and you're sitting there and you get a wave of goosebumps over you. That's what we're talking about here. You can get goosebump moments so I want to encourage you to pay attention to your flashes of insight, to sort of any sort of prophetic or light bulb moments, I keep calling them. So they can definitely increase under this influence. So your thinking with Mercury here might be drawn to topics to do with the progress of humankind, justice, equality for all. You might even be invited to join some sort of collective legal action under this influence, I might say as well. So if you are somebody who's drawn to activism, this energy is going to really help you. And even if you're just somebody who's exploring, well, what the hell has really unfolded over the last 3 years, or the first 3 years of the 2020s, you might find some really serious, meaty topics here that you can do a deep dive into, Scorpio being someone who likes to do a deep dive, and find some kind of truth regarding the progress, like I said, of humanity. So use that inclination to do that deep dive into big picture social concepts. Use that energy to find truth and then speak it out under this influence. All right, moving on. Thank you, Scorpio. To Sagittarius. Well, here in the 10th house, Virgo is the 10th house, and that's where we're seeing the influence of Jupiter in this lovely trine with Mercury being displayed. This is where our thinking processes can actually become a bit more no-nonsense. Virgo energy, no-nonsense, in the 10th house. And of course, the 10th house has connections to Saturn. So our thinking becomes no-nonsense, and we can use our mind now to help build some structures, new structures for our life. particularly around career, especially if you are drawn to working in careers of management, administration, bureaucracy. This energy can help bring some blessing into those processes in your life, and it's a good time for putting new systems and new structures in place if you are in a management, administration, or bureaucratic position. Some of you may find that there's a blessing of a new career option open up for you under this benevolent interaction here. This is your 10th house Lord being expanded by Jupiter, the planet that rules you, Sagittarius. So you're coming from the house of work and career combined benevolently here, and give the opportunity to expand who you are, expand your journey, because Jupiter rules the journey of you in this incarnation. So blessing, expansion, growth in career is likely to unfold for our beautiful Sagittarius friends today. So do watch out though, because there's always shadow and light in everything. Just watch out for any patronizing attitudes or criticism or judgmentalism that can come unbidden now, both from yourself to other people or from other people to you, because this is a house that has connections to Saturn. And what is Saturn? It's criticism, it's judgment, and this is a realm of the chart that has to do with that sort of thing. So be aware of that tendency. Tread with kindness in your communication and you will do just fine. I would also suggest, Sagittarius, that this is a day when your own worldly reputation might expand for the good, and people will see you in a benevolent light. It will really be an opportunity for you to increase your reputation and increase your legacy here on the planet. So this is lovely for you Sagittarians who want to grow their worldly reputation and their presence out there in society. Capricorn Rising, Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Moon. The energy of Jupiter making a trine, or Mercury making a trine with Jupiter between Virgo and Taurus, is affecting and displaying in your 9th house. So Mercury is what we think about, and you're going to be thinking about uplifting topics now. Where is the silver lining in your experience? What is inspiring in your world on the 10th of August? You'll tend to focus your thoughts in these directions on the 10th of August. Expanding the mind, expanding the understanding, looking to the future and aspiring to new things. You can really help humanity as well under this influence with big picture thinking and a big picture focus. So, under this influence, Capricorn, you're more inclined to come up with concepts of how is this going to benefit all of society? How is this going to grow society from this level to a much better place? You have a more big picture process here, and belief systems and ethics and morals and principles, philosophies you're going to be drawn to exploring those with an eye to what is going to better society. You're going to have a naturally progressive orientation or worldview under this influence. So particularly looking to benefit the future. This is a future-oriented house after all, and of course this is occurring also in the mutable sign of Virgo that we're seeing the influence, and mutable signs always want to improve and make things better. So definitely an energy for coming up with some concepts to improve the world. But also personal truth seeking is on the cards under this influence. You want all the answers to what is going on in the world now, and don't we all actually? But for Capricorn people, it's kind of like a real drive around the 10th of August to search out the truth, and what is the truth, and can I trust what the government says, what the leaders say, and you're really going to dive deep into what is true and what isn't. I would encourage you, trust your hunches, trust your intuition on these things. Listen to your gut. Listen to what feels right within you. Okay, it might feel depressing because, hey, the truth can be sometimes a bit, oh my God, is that the truth? What are we in for? But you'll know when it's right or wrong by listening to how you feel within your body. If that doesn't feel right, if it feels like, oh, yuck, no way, then it's not right for you. If it feels like, oh, that's really difficult to stomach, but I know it's real, I know it's true, trust your gut on that. Anyway, I diverge. This might be a good time under this influence to sort of do a deep dive into some different philosophies, some different belief systems. Try and wrap your head around also the activities and affairs in foreign countries right now. And there are plenty of podcasts and YouTube videos that talk about economics in other countries and politics in other countries. You might be quite inclined, Capricorn, to start exploring those things under this influence, and I encourage you to do so. You know, we can become very insular, looking within at our own little world and our own community or our own country, and we forget that it's like our actions have ripple effects. You know, the behavior of a certain country will ripple effect out to other countries. So it behoves us to understand the big picture. And there's never a better time with a trine from Jupiter to Mercury this way to explore the big picture globally of how politics and economics influences all of us in that big picture way. You're really going to have the ability under this influence to grasp those things deeper and to get meaning out of it. Be able to apply that to your life personally with a beautiful trine from Jupiter to Mercury. Thank you, Capricorn. Aquarius Rising, Sun or Moon people. Well, the energy that we're looking at today is a trine between Jupiter and Mercury, and it's exhibiting through your 8th house, Aquarius. So this is where our thinking is expanded on 8th house topics. So it's quite a deep and intense combination here. And you might have a bit of a distaste for small talk and superficiality around the 10th of August. You want to get right to the meat, right to the juicy bits of topics of interest, particularly topics that might have to do with psychology, mysteries, conspiracy theories, anything to do with ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge. You really want to go deep with that under this influence. So it's perhaps, if you don't feel like having that sort of superficial chit chat and at the coffee shop or something, you might prefer to sort of, I don't know, download a documentary series and perhaps go deep into some documentary series or explore a podcast that talks about the meaty things you're interested in. Another influence that this brings about is that it really is time for getting strategic with our communications. So there is, if you've got to write an email that has it's not just a chitty chatty, it's purposeful, it's with an agenda and something that you want fulfilled. It's time for writing that email under this influence. That email can have a beneficial effect in the long run. If you need to be very strategic about an article you want to write, or some kind of a book outline or something, this is the energy for doing it under, because you'll get results that you'll be happy with. You might even be focused on psychological analysis of the people around you and perhaps your own self right now, trying to understand people, trying to understand yourself and nut out their agendas and their expectations. You might be very focused on that in some way. You might even, it's a wonderful energy for buying some self-help books or books on esoterica or mysticism, and really doing the deep dive into those sorts of 8th house topics. Expect to have a lot of passion in your communications. The communications you give out and the communications you receive from others will be passionate and driven by an emotional influence, and also your thinking will be of a passionate variety. You will have a great fervor and enthusiasm in your mind about topics that are dear to your heart, and your words really do have power under this influence. More than anyone else, Aquarius, you have the chance on the 10th of August to use your words like a superhero weapon for good. The shadow side of this is that there can be a tendency to manipulate others with your words under this transit. But if you're conscious and aware, my words have power on the 10th of August, I'm going to put out there a YouTube video, or I'm going to put out there a tile for Instagram or a reel or some sort of communication that's really punchy, gets to the point. I'm going to use my communication to really impact people. You guys can make some really serious transformative changes in the world through what you share and communicate under this influence. So another thing you can expect to experience is you might come into some quite intense conclusions about the darker undercurrents of humanity, truth is revealed under this energy. Insights, knowledge, wisdom are exposed under this particular combination. So you might find out a lot of truth that can leave you in a heavy state. This energy, it's not a heavy energy, but it is empowering the truth to come out and to be revealed to you. And that, of course, when we find the truth, can leave us feeling very weighted down and heavy in our soul. So just forewarned, forearmed about that. You could even find that there's an increase in your thinking processes around maybe morbid or taboo topics as well, thinking more about death, wondering what happens when we die, or exploring sort of sexual concepts that you wouldn't usually explore in your mind. People might be divulging your secrets to you now more so than usual, and some of you Aquarian people might turn into regular Sherlock Holmeses on the trail for the truth. So you might be amazed at what treasures you uncover and discover as you dig deep into some topic. You're also likely to find that you'll be very drawn to mysteries under this energy, or hidden ideas or hidden concepts and ideologies. Hence even a desire to look back on things, to look back on history or in ancient wisdom and discover truths that way as well. You can also find that under this influence you have the ability to see right through people, to understand their motivations, to understand their hidden agendas. So trust your gut on that sort of thing. Watch out though for being a little bit obsessive in your mind right now. This is an energy, after all, where the 8th house Mercury influence is expanded. And of course that influence can be a little bit on the obsessive side mentally from time to time, spinning our wheels with our thoughts. So just be aware of that and maybe have some strategies at hand to ease the mental overload, so to speak. The final thing I want to mention for our beautiful Aquarius friends is that under this influence, you could be a provoker of transformation in others through the use of your words. And, you can use your words, as I said, as a superpower tool for good. And in that, you can transform others to change their perspective, their opinion, or the way they're living their life. I would encourage you to share your words with others with love, with grace, with kindness. Because I'm a Libran moon, I value those things, but you have the ability under this energy to transform others through what you say. So why not say it with love? Why not say it with kindness? The last thing that people want is to experience transformation and change when it's come from a harsh red hot poker, so to speak, So use your words with kindness and with grace. They will transform people. There's no need to be harsh with our words in order to get a transformative effect. All right, thank you, Aquarius. Pisces Rising, Pisces Sun, and Pisces Moon people. Well, we've got this forming, or expressing, I should say, on an angular house, because Mercury, ruler of the 7th house, is in the 7th house receiving this glorious trine from Jupiter. So you might find during the 10th of August, when this is going to be an active energy, that you just have a great need to communicate and share with other people. Communicate your ideas, communicate your thoughts in order to stop you feeling stuck. So Mercury in the house of the other, house of other people, means that you want to communicate with others. So this might be a driver, an expanded energy in you, a driving force in you, Pisces. So ring up that friend, have that chat on the phone, or go meet at a coffee shop, or maybe your method of communicating and sharing ideas with other people is through like a YouTube video like this one, or doing some sort of Instagram tiles, or some a Telegram post or something like that. You can really also uplift others with your words now. Jupiter expands benevolently a strong Mercury in its own sign and in the house of other people. So you have the ability to use your words to uplift other people. And we know Pisces people are very frequently generous with their compliments and their encouragement. So your words might be quite diplomatic here in the Seventh house, thinking about what other people need to receive to uplift them, and you'll be able to give that to them verbally. Sometimes when we've got this energy playing out, we do like to play a bit of the devil's advocate in order to balance a conversation, because this is the house of harmony and balance. And if there's too much emphasis in one, leaning in one direction, you might play the devil's advocate, Pisces, in order to take things back another way and get people thinking. Which is fine. You want to, under this influence, you actually do have a desire to think objectively about issues. And it's a time, the 10th of August, when this is forming, when you can perceive problems from a variety of angles. And you'll enjoy the stimulation of fair and just debate. So from that perspective, it's really great energy, Pisces, for weighing things up on a mental plane. And not just ideas and concepts and things like that. But if you have to weigh anything up in your mind right now, like, should I be in this relationship? Shouldn't I be? Should I take this job? Should I not? If you have to make a decision about anything, this energy is going to really help you find a balanced perspective that's going to serve you well. So you have the ability not just to debate ideas and, stimulate your mind and stuff, but for making rational, sensible decisions through a reasonable thought process of evaluation now, Pisces. So thumbs up for that. Trust the conclusions that you come to, Pisces, around the 10th of August about any choices you need to make, because this energy is supporting you in that decision-making process. Another thing, though, is, Pisces, you won't be in a hurry with your thinking right now. You might be inclined to take your time getting your point across, because fast thinking, fast speaking, fast talking comes when Mercury's in the first house. When Mercury's opposite the house of you, in the house of the other, it means other people will be quick and witty and, their thinking process is on fire, but not so much you. So you might feel like you're mentally a bit slow and a bit sluggish under this energy, but that's okay. It's a passing energy and it's not going to last long. So take your time with your thoughts and your thinking processes, and we know you're imaginative by nature, Pisces, so maybe sit down with a journal and just write out your thoughts and ponder on them. Ponder on them deeply under this influence, because it's a great energy for actually doing that. It's also a really good energy for bringing balance and harmony into relationships with the words that you speak. So if you're in love with someone, Pisces, write them a letter under this. Share how you feel, share your thoughts with them in some beautiful romantic communication style. Enhance your relationships through words, through compliments, maybe write a poem for your loved one. This is a great energy for utilizing communication in a romantic sense, in a loving sense, to benefit somebody that you care about, Pisces. Make the most of that. It's lovely. Thank you for that, Pisces. Now, Aries Rising, Sun or Moon people, on the 10th of August, we are going to be experiencing a trine between Jupiter and Jupiter over here in the second house to Virgo Mercury. And so guess what? On the 10th of August, you can have high levels of success in your everyday routine and life in general under this influence, because this is the realm, the sixth house is the realm of our everyday life. What time we get up, what time we go to bed, when we go to the gym, what we buy for lunch, where we eat lunch. It's all those mundane, detailed things about everyday existence that are represented through the sixth house. And Jupiter expands blessing into that realm. So this is a time when, your everyday routine might feel just wonderful to you. Gosh, I love my life. Life is going well. Yes, I always eat at this corner store for my lunch every day, but gee, I like the food they serve here. It's just that feeling of optimism and bubbliness about the everyday, ordinary things that you do. This is also an energy on the 10th of August when a time when your communication can be very articulate and very precise, with the ability to get straight to the point. So Aries, great energy for you to utilize in that sense. It can be a time of impatience with others who aren't thinking as effectively as you or as quickly as you. But here in Virgo, where Mercury is in its own sign, you you can bring in a sense of balance here. One thing that Virgo is all about, and a lot of people don't realize this, Virgo is about learning to disseminate or decide, make a decision about what they want to keep and what they want to get rid of. And sometimes Virgo people can be very indecisive because they don't know what they should keep and what they should get rid of. But here, with an expanded influence of Jupiter upon the ruler of your sixth house, Mercury, you have a greater ability to decide what is worth keeping in life, everyday life, and what is not. And so you can make good decisions regarding your everyday life and what's worth hanging on to under this influence as well. Your practical skills are likely to be enhanced here, and just be careful because Jupiter will expand the influence of the sixth house this way, and that can include a greater influence of perfectionism, which is a hallmark of Virgo energy. So while you have an increase in your practical skills, if you've got some crafting or creating to do, you're going to produce elegant and tasteful work, absolutely. Just don't beat yourself up if things aren't perfect. This energy might give you oh, it's not good enough, when, it's practically a Rembrandt kind of thing. This is also a very introspective and observational energy. So you might find yourself analyzing every situation. And this is, again, comes back to sort of the weighing up of, what should I keep, what should I let go of, kind of Virgo influence. So you might be being very analytical on this day. Do just be careful, because even in its own sign, Mercury under an expansion from Jupiter can get a bit too in the head. Thinking, lost in our thoughts, even to the point where it can cause some anxiety. So just be aware, maybe have some strategies, even though this is a trine, just have some strategies at hand if you can't switch off the mind, if it's not leaving you alone. When I need to fall asleep and my mind just won't shut off, I will listen to, funnily enough, my own YouTube videos, which bore me to death, and I end up falling asleep. No, they don't bore me to death, but the lilt of my voice sends me off to sleep. So you might have something that you'd like to utilize that can help sort of get your mind out of that, running over and over and over and over things kind of situation. If there's any planning and preparation to be done, this is a really good energy for doing it under. It can, if you're well planned and well organized, that can actually be a strategy to alleviate some of the worrying and mental overload, okay? By having lists, being structured, and having a plan and a calendar at hand, that really helps get things out of your head onto the paper and eases the mental overload. It's also a really good time, Aries, for putting some practical organizational skills in place that you can use towards helping the disadvantaged, the sick, and the poor. In Vedic astrology, we're encouraged to all do this, help the sick and the disadvantaged of the poor, because it burns our karma. It burns our karmic load according to Vedic astrology. So, if some of you might be like, well, I'm struggling and life is hard for me. And so there's always something that you can give to other people. It could be a prayer. It could be giving them a flower or a poem or something like that just gives them a smile for that moment and raises their vibration momentarily. This is an energy for strategizing, how to uplift others, how to bless other people. It's a great energy for doing something practical to help somebody who is in a less advantageous position than you. It could be that, you make a salad roll for your lunch like you do every morning, and you decide, I'm going to make a spare one and I'm going to give it to somebody who's in need that I pass on the street, somebody who's homeless or something. I'm going to have a spare salad roll, I'm going to give that out. But this is an energy where you can plan for that and organize yourself for that and structure things for that. Okay? So burn your karma. The sixth house is the house of where we burn our karma, and we all have a sixth house somewhere. We should all be doing this, but for you, you've got this blessing upon you this week to be able to come up with great ideas and strategies to help those who need help. Thank you, Aries. Okay, Taurus Rising, Taurus Sun, Taurus Moon people. So we have the energy of beautiful benevolent Jupiter trining Mercury in Virgo, its own sign, from your first house, Taurus. So this is going to be displaying, this energy of benevolence to Mercury is going to be displaying through fifth house things. So your thinking might be larger than life now. This is a house of a creative self-expression, and Jupiter coming from the house of you to this house of creative self-expression means that there's an expansion of that. You're going to be coming up with great ideas for how to be creative at work or at home or with raising children or with romance. Your creativity can be off the Richter scale under this influence. So enjoy that. What a blessing to be coming up with great date night ideas, to be coming up with great ways to interact and play with your children. This is an energy where you're mentally going to come up with these ideas. Don't let this pass unutilized. Make lists. Every Friday night, I'm going to, have games night with my children, and I'm going to do da-da-da-da-da-da, and come up with lists and structure and organization, very Virgo, that are going to enhance your ability to use creativity in all these dynamics of the fifth house, with your creative self, with your art projects, your hobbies, your design, your relationship with a lover, your relationship with your children, all these fifth house things. So in your head, you can now go where no man or woman has gone before, as they say, in your imagination. It is a powerful energy combination for fantasizing and coming up with, let's say, some fabulous great novel that you've always wanted to write. You might get the aha moment under this influence for the structure of the novel that you want to put together, or the film you want to write or produce. There's some really great ideas coming to you creatively now. You could find that under this influence, you might be undertaking some mercurial things that you mightn't usually do any other time. You might step up and speak to a stranger, and you never speak to strangers, perhaps. You might sit down and there's a crossword puzzle in front of you. You never do crosswords, but under this influence, you give it a crack. Or a Sudoku or something like that. You've never had the inspiration to write some novel, and here under this influence, here you are planning out some literary endeavor. So there could be this amplification of fifth house capacity and Mercury capacity as well. You might even find that under this influence, you're communicating in a much more confident way, maybe a more dramatic way, more expressive than usual. Maybe you're captivating people with your words and your writing and your communication more than ever now. This energy is great for that sort of thing, Taurus. People might be laughing more at your jokes. Mercury is witty and funny. Jupiter is jovial. Here they're combining in a very beneficial way in the house of fun. Jupiter, fifth house is a house of fun. And so having a laugh, having a good time, you'll be cracking witticisms left, right, and center. Enjoy that. And with that in mind, it might be a good time to get social. Invite your workmates out to the pub for a drink after work and have a great time, because you're in that zone of sociability, connection, feeling communicative and witty. It's all happening. The fifth house is also a very generous type of energy, and Jupiter, of course, expands that influence. So it's expanding Mercury in the fifth house and generosity. So you might be very generous with your words now, giving compliments, giving encouragement to people right now, and writing them little notes that sort of make them sparkle. A very, very positive transit for you to be benevolent. Here we are, Jupiter in the first house of you, to be benevolent and a blessing to everybody around you socially. So what a great thing to do, Taurus, to be uplifting and blessing and having fun under this influence. Thank you, Taurus. Gemini Rising, Gemini Sun, and Gemini Moon. Well, the influence of Mercury and Jupiter making a trine between one another is playing out and being felt in the fourth house. Fourth house for Gemini people. This is where communication gets personal, because the fourth house is our deepest, most personal house. You might find yourself thinking a lot about your feelings. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I let my feelings get in the way? I'd encourage you, if you're going down that road, it's good to read Eckhart Tolle. He explores those topics in his book. My favorite book of his is A New Earth. Not so much The Power of Now. It's a very good book as well, but I like A New Earth better. You might find yourself picking up also very easily on the feelings and the needs of other people. You're sensitized to emotions right now, and you can feel other people's emotions and logically process, they're feeling like this, even though they're saying something else. You have this great capacity, Gemini. It's a transit that can bring out some defensive tendencies. Remember, fourth house is very like Cancer with the protective shell. And so, if people speak some words to you, you might find that there is an amplification from Jupiter, defense mechanism. So be kind to yourself. If you're feeling sensitized and defensive, know when to walk away and lick your wounds instead of sort of staying there and, mulling in wading in the mud of your own hurts, okay? You might find that information comes to you under this beautiful influence from Jupiter in a very gentle, non-confrontative way now. So subtle sort of information that comes into your awareness, not sort of blaring at you like a neon sign, but you're reading a book and there's a sentence there and it just grabs you and you read it 3 or 4 times over and over, and then boom, okay, that's what that's trying to say. That's very life-changing. So this is what I mean. Information, awareness, knowledge comes in some sort of subtle ways. So that could happen on the 10th of August when this energy is unfolding. It's also a really great energy to do some journaling, exploring your feelings. And often we find that when Mercury is in the 4th house, it's through writing that we are able to understand our feelings better. So under this influence, that is magnified. Take time to write. Even if you're not into journaling, if it feels funny to journal to you, maybe write a letter to some non-existent person and put it in that form instead. So do some journaling, do some writing to explore your feelings and analyze how you are going emotionally. You might also be inclined under this energy to pick up a book on a romantic or an emotional topic, maybe some poetry or a relationship story or some sort of communications that have a very personal influence, personal story to them. An example of that might be you might be interested in watching the discussion that I had, must be a year ago now, with Robin Jordan, the past life regressionist who works on Guiding Star Astrology website. And she shared a lot of the personal stories that she had encountered in her life as a past life regressionist. It was very inspiring, very uplifting. And that's the kind of thing you might be really keen on under this energy. Going into personal experience rather than anything academic or logical, like facts, dot point, dot point, dot point. No, you want to understand the world now. On the 10th of August, what's going to be more effective is understanding things from a personal, experiential perspective. You might find also that your thought processes get very sentimental and nostalgic. 4th house is about our heritage, our roots, our lineage. And you might be looking back and thinking, wasn't it great when I was a child? And, we used to play under the sprinkler every summer, and you just wander back into the memories and get nostalgic under this influence too. So there's a big emphasis on that happening, especially as Jupiter's coming from the 12th house, which has to do with our past lives, but also past experiences. So going back into childhood and being nostalgic, being sentimental. You might also be thinking more about 4th house topics: security, land, property, hospitality. And the mind goes there. So it's not saying that you're going to be, Gemini, buying lots of property or opening up your home for an Airbnb, but you're going to be thinking about things to do with land, thinking about things to do with property and security. So expect that you might also get very passionate about philosophical, having trouble with my words today, philosophical topics, and deep soul-searching inquiry. Just on that, it's dawned on me why I'm having trouble with my pronunciation today as I'm recording this. In readiness for the weekend, it is Mercury opposite Saturn, so my speaking is a bit impeded and blocked. And there we go. That's how astrology works. Why did I choose today to do this video? All right, thank you, Gemini. Cancer. Cancer rising, Cancer sun, Cancer moon, people. Well, the energy on the 10th of August that is forming between Jupiter trining Mercury down here in Virgo will be expressing itself through the third house down here, a place where Mercury is very much at home, very much in its element in the third house. And so this is the house of our mental self, and it's an energy where that is expanded. Our mental self is expanded, and we feel very playful, very cheeky, and very witty. Now, even in the sign of Virgo that's not naturally oriented to that, the third house is expanded here. And so that witticism, that quick mental energy, that cheekiness can be amplified. You might even get a little bit flirty with your words, Cancer, and that's always a bit of fun. Everybody likes a little bit of double entendre or cheeky wit in our communications now and then. Your intellect can also be on fire. So really it's a great time for learning new things, exploring new topics, understanding new concepts. It's a really good time as well for doing some workshops. Maybe you might like to purchase an online course or something like that, because you're really going to get it and understand it. Plus, whatever you study and explore on this particular day, the 10th of August, it's going to be empowering to you and expansive in your life. So if you've ever wanted to do one of my courses that I have a number of courses on sale right now, do check out the Learn Astrology page at the Guiding Star Astrology website, because this could be a very advantageous energy for getting something life-changing out of it. It's also a great time to direct your words into some form of creative brilliance, I would say, Cancer. Write an article, outline a plot for a new story, maybe strategize or do a branding or something for a new business idea. You're going to have a lot of creative energy to put into third house things. Time to design that website. Time to set up that new social media page. Get on it. Your mind can also be quite restless under this energy as well. So you might need some help to switch off the mental process, the hamster on the treadmill kind of thing. So whatever works to soothe the mind for you. Some people like to meditate. I don't find that helps me switch off my monkey mind. So it could be, in this instance, in the third house of restlessness, it might be going for a walk in nature that calms the mind, getting that fresh air in your lungs and smelling the smells and listening to the birds and that sort of thing. It could be, a bike ride or rollerblading, something where there's some movement, and using up some of that restless energy can actually help to ease any monkey mind activity that's going on. But there could be, in a blessed way, there could be the opportunity to absorb some new and very interesting information. You might even get, this is the realm of the chart that has to do with receiving news, not necessarily, receiving deep ancient knowledge, but something newsy. So you might be receiving some sort of beneficial news, like blessed news, under this influence. Something that uplifts you, something that makes you feel really good, Cancer, can come your way. We all love a bit of good news, don't we? You might even create some new friendships, because this is a social house. It has to do with friends. Some new friendships can be formed under this energy, and those friends are likely to bring you some very interesting new perspectives on the world, and expand your own mind and your own understanding as well. This is a combination for having an insatiable curiosity. So you're going to want to know more and more and more about everything, and do some research, and perhaps not go into a deep dive, but maybe you want to know a lot about everything rather than a lot about one particular topic. So it's more broad and more horizontal than it is vertical, if you know what I mean. Do watch out for an excess of nervous energy because your mind, like I said, could be a little bit racy, but it might also be harder to sit still. So like I said a moment ago, get out there, move your body, take a walk or go for a drive, that kind of thing, to help alleviate some of that nervous energy that can build up under this influence. Thank you very much, Cancer. All right, Leo Rising, Leo Sun, and Leo Moon. Thank you for waiting till the end, my lovely Leos. Well, the second house is where you are going to be feeling the influence of this beautiful trine between Jupiter in the 10th house of your career, making a trine to Mercury, ruler of your second house, in the second house. Second house has associations with the energy of Venus. It's very like Venus, the influence of the second house. And Venus is diplomacy, kindness, and sweetness. So when there's an amplification of second house energy by the ruler of the second house in the second house, trine by Jupiter, what it can bring about is opportunities to use your voice, second house, to speak or to sing or to communicate to other people in a very kind, diplomatic manner. And that can be advantageous, Leo, because when we use, I think that, is it a Bible verse or an old Aesopian tale where you catch more flies with honey? I don't know if that's a Bible verse or just an old quote, but you can catch more flies with honey. Using sweet words gets you more of what you want in life. And this is an energy for using sweet words to bless your life and to bless others as well. You can uplift yourself, yes, but also uplift others in their sense of self, because our self-worth and our self-value here is also affected by the words we speak under this influence too. How much you regard yourself might be directly in correspondence to how much you're able to bless others with your kind words under this influence. How much you see yourself as a good person might relate very much on this day to you taking opportunities to give love or communicate with Venetian sweetness to others. With that in mind, this is a beautiful energy for utilizing Mercury themes like writing yourself a love letter. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. Like, value yourself with your communication. I mean, that might sound really weird to some people. Why would I write myself a love letter, you know? Why not write yourself a love letter? What do you love about yourself? I tell my children, in fact, I had this on my fridge for a long time, write down 5 things that you love to do, and that's something that you are, right? And I would encourage you, write down not only 5 things you love to do, but 5 things that you love about who you are. Maybe you love your eyes, maybe you love your wittiness, maybe you love your ability to get along with everybody. Whatever it is, write down 5 things that you love about yourself and see what that reveals about who you are and how you value yourself, Leo, under this influence. Tell yourself how much you value and love you. Something we don't do often enough, but this is an energy that could inspire great insights and great wisdom out of such a process. Now, also, the second house has to do with things like beauty, art, fashion, the environment, food, nature, self-sufficient living. And your thoughts might turn to these processes now. You might be looking for some practical, Virgo, ways to live self-sufficiently. You might be looking for, through recipe books and getting a lot of delight out of reading recipe books now, or fashion magazines. You might be exploring a YouTube channel looking for makeup ideas for women over 50. Great ideas to keep you looking fresh and young, you know. You might be exploring all these things and in your mind and doing sort of some research or some reading about all these particular second house topics. It's also a really good energy to plan or strategize such things. So while I wouldn't recommend going and getting a haircut or buying new makeup while Venus is in retrograde motion and also squaring Uranus at this time, it's a great idea for looking into, okay, what color lipsticks do I actually like, and what would look nice on me? And then when Venus goes direct, go down the street and buy those lipsticks. But don't do it while Venus is retrograde. You might find what you explore now, it might change a little once Venus turns direct. But all in all, it's a fun thing to do, to plan and to strategize around the food that you might like to cook for yourself and eat, the plants you might want to put in your garden, or clothes you might want to buy, art you might want to have on your wall. Planning and strategizing is a Mercury thing to do, and your thoughts might go to those realms, and you might like to sort of design or come up with concepts for how you're going to utilize those things in the future. You'll also find that finances and money-making ideas might come flooding in under this energy. So pay attention to where your mind wanders under this influence. Maybe have a pen and paper handy to jot down any entrepreneurial concepts that pop into your mind under this influence, because it could just turn out to be very lucrative for you. Mentally thinking about money and money-making ideas expanded by Jupiter, making this beautiful trine from the realm of career and legacy that we're going to leave when we pass to the house of money and money-making ideas. What could be better? You're going to come up with some really creative insights, Leo, into how to make money, I feel, on this day, the 10th of August. So be ready for that. Well, thank you one and all for exploring the horoscope with me this week. I hope this video is a blessing to you, and I will be back next week with another Astro Weather Report. I'll catch you then.